Good morning, traders, and welcome to the Bookmap live trading webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. And so let's just jump right in and start to go through it here, looking at the S&P, and then we'll get to the disclosure in just a second here. All right, so we can see the sell-off here, continuation from Friday. Now, regarding this bigger picture move here, this is something that if you look back on the 15th of August, it was up in this area here. It was the 12th, and then I think also the 15th in here. So this large move above this 4250 was a rather critical. Now we saw this in the webinars and talked about much higher time frame liquidity, and we knew that larger players getting filled up here. It hung out here all week long, and then finally broke below on Friday. This is really, I just want to point to this as understanding levels of liquidity and who's taking the other side of the trade. We can start to look for this scenario to unfold. I'll find a clip for you guys, and just to understand or go over this point here on how to utilize the liquidity heat map on all time frames, very low time frames, as well as very high time frames. So this was a really good example, I think, of a very high time frame, and then understanding the break below and look out below after that. I mean, this is all a whole lot of trading all week long above that area, positioning of larger players, and this is the outcome of it here. So we've come down into, we marked up this line quite a while ago. This is the daily chart over here on the left, and then we came back from vacation August 1st, and then we're looking for kind of the move and the spike up into these areas here, test this line, maybe go a little bit above it and just test it. And I was figuring it would probably dump at that point. Nope. We saw a very strong move above it, and then we saw the very strong move also above this 4250 area, and that's where we noticed a lot of liquidity getting filled on the offer. All right, so and that started to, some of those days when it just doesn't make sense of like why it doesn't reverse. Well, is there still more buying pressure? And you just see this liquidity just getting filled like hand over fist. It clues us into starting to understand that something else is going on in the bigger picture. And these kinds of scenarios and this kind of content is something we want to cover during these webinars, so that you can utilize that to your advantage and to your edge. All right, so you can see just a beautiful trap on the 15-minute chart. Now we're looking at 1 month back here on the right-hand side. 15-minute chart. I mean, this is just, it's beautiful. Look at all of this trading action all last week, except for Friday, above the 4250, and then here's the easy move. Last week, pretty tough trading. Here's the easy move. Problem is that today it's already done the move. Right, here's our open, cash open. It's already, and here, and we're down to another level that I'm not sure why we marked that up. Maybe because of the break here and the break here. We're at that level. We would start to anticipate a bit of a slowdown in here. We'll see. Maybe we'll come back down and fill the gap here. This was back on, oh God, this was kind of early August, or no, late July maybe, and maybe fill that gap in here. All right, so yeah, we'll this is an area to take a look at. It's around 41.28 or so. And then we're up here at 41.67 at the moment. All right, so just looking at the bigger picture here, and we're combining in these candles here, 15-minute chart, 1 hour chart, and daily chart. We have the 4250 marked up here, and we're combining that price action with the order flow that we saw during some of these days. Okay, so just wanted to go over that, and we'll continue to take a look at it, I think, as we move on here. in this webinar. Now, this webinar here is about understanding market structure and candles. This is something I wanted to, it's the same topic as Fridays, except Fridays we really went over kind of traps, icebergs, etc. And that was a challenging session, to be honest. It was very choppy, and we knew the direction was down in the bigger picture, and we were looking for the continuation on down. During that webinar, we're looking for a pullback though, and a move back up, and it was muted, and yeah, we saw some challenging order flow in here. Here we go now on the move down. As you can see, just breaking this level here at 65 in this swing here. So that's 65 down to 63. Yeah, we'll see. This is a nice stop run already. We're already getting a pullback here. And we'll watch this area here around 65, just where it dropped from. Understand the order flow around that. So before I jump into all of that, let's go over the risk disclosure. Okay, general disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Okay, so how many of you guys in here look at candles? Would love to, maybe I'll even put a poll in here. Are looking at not bar data, but candles in specific. We just looking for some sort of feedback in here. Okay. So yeah, there's a poll there in YouTube, and we'll try to get more. Nick, you do? Okay, thanks. How about over in Discord? You do for the daily. Kevson, okay. Yeah, Pro Killer, thanks. I'm so bad. Yep. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. Looking for that larger picture, just like what we just covered. But now that's what is just so funny here is, like I was mentioning earlier, like what we uncovered here in Bookmap up in this area on those days, on those up days, the initial up days, right? There was a whole lot of other stuff that happened up here during the week that was, I thought, rather confusing. But this move to the upside, I mean, it was just waiting and watching for this 4250 to see what the reaction would be around that area here. Anticipating the primary scenario would be anticipate the break. If the news was good, if interest rates or I don't know, whatever it was good, then we would look for a bounce off of 4250. Okay, maybe kind of a reset off of this area in here, and look for the continuation move off of 4250. Instead, we're looking for the drop, and the bar data in here, it's aggregated data within a period, and it doesn't offer you that kind of transparency that looking at the order flow in Bookmap does. So to get an overall understanding of this, what can we use? What do you guys use? Let me put it that way, because I'm not looking for a specific answer. How do you look at it? Like I'm just kind of curious. Like what is it that you look at within the candles? Do you look at trends? Do you look at ranges? Do you look at the candlestick patterns on multiple time frames? Like, so for example here, obviously it closed lower here on the daily, and the pattern would be that you have all of these up here, and then here's the bar that moves it away from that area. So if you're looking at specific candles, then you would be looking for the drop here. Or are you looking at ranges and then a break of the range? Something like that. There's differences in here. I'm trying to make a distinction between just bar data and candle pattern data. Okay, so Not sure what happened to the poll in there. Candles, but not on Bookmap. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. That's what I'm doing as well. But just to try to get a feel for it in here. Can you please go over the stop iceberg indicator? Yeah, sure, Andrea. I'm so bad. You look for ranges and breaks of balance. Yeah, that's something you can see within here. We talked about this on the daily chart over here because it was, I was looking for that spike above it and then the drop, but this was all bullish in here. And look at this in here. Okay, the way we've been covering in here is higher highs, higher lows, looking at the pressures of the buying and selling. And of course, it's like it's speculative by looking at the wicks. Is that wick buying or selling? I mean, like, what is the position within it? It's really kind of tough. However, in this one, it's not so bad when you see like this little candle right here. Okay. You're looking at a higher high and a higher low, and there's buying pressure, even though that's a red candle. Okay, it did make a lower high here for the day, but there's a lot of buying pressure that day. Okay, so we did get a pullback here a few days, but it never broke the low. Okay, and it did break the high here the very next day. All right, so maybe that was a reversal pattern. Nope, it was not. Anyone that went reverse in here, and let's just zoom in a little bit. So this is the reason that we're looking at this and zooming in like this is because now we're going to extrapolate this to the order flow. All right, so in here, yeah, this doji worked out pretty well for the next day, but the structure in here is still bullish, and that's really important to understand. Okay, that in fact, you volume profile guys are going to look at this cluster in here, and you're going to know that this is your high volume node somewhere in here, and you look for a retest of the high volume node and a bounce off of it as a possible scenario, and then the move upwards. All right, so that's what we're going to look at here within the order flow, and we'll look at some of the candles in here. Okay, all right. Heikinashi. Okay, yeah, Gus, I'm not a fan of the Heikinashi. Boy, when they look good, they're beautiful. And in fact, when we first came out with these delta volume dots in here, it kind of reminded me of Heikinashi. These just beautiful moves here of looking at pure red dots or pure green dots to give us some insight. Okay, so I'm going to take a step back and we're going to look at this now. We're going to look at this in here as in terms of candles, but also like who's in control in these moves. We've talked about that many times, let me see here. Yeah, Matt. Well, double tops and double bottoms, etc., or like these kinds of candles, or candle patterns, or just patterns in general. Ascending wedges or descending wedges, or whatever it might be, triangles. It's really the order flow that matters. The pattern and the definition of the pattern, I don't give a hoot about. It's about the order flow within it. Are we going to see that fail or break? We want to understand that because we know that someone's going to get caught on the wrong side, right? And we're looking for that. We're trying to start to look for what might unfold here, and we look at the buying in here. We look at the bid or the offer in here as well. So look at this. We just saw this breakdown here. This move lower into the 63 area, and we're like, okay, it's breaking down. Okay, we're looking for lower lows, etc. But I wasn't so sure about it. The reason being is that this is like 65 down to 63, 2 points. Okay, well, it's easy for, if this was 4 points, 5 points, that would be different. Then we'd be looking for a shallow pullback and continuation. Instead, we have this bigger pattern emerging here. Okay, so actually, right now, Well, look at the bars down here, okay, within this area. And so I'm just going to cover this triangle pattern, and then I'm going to get back to what I wanted to cover about the bigger picture and the candlesticks. But the volume in here, well, you know, we're starting to see quite a bit of buying in here. We're starting to see a lot of green dots, big green dots in here. And it's kind of all over the place right now. It's not, this action in here with the volume dots is not very clear. Okay, we're still making lower highs and lower lows though. The structure matters here. Okay, so we would anticipate this move lower here just due to the structure. Now I know that's happening as we're speaking, but you know, we're always looking for that. This is what we want to look at though, is the potential bounce out of this area because of this buying. So let's see now. I'm looking to see if we can get our buyers hit this liquidity, come up here, and then right back up into 65 up here, or 64 3/4, and then maybe even higher, 66, 67, maybe 70, right? Because we have buying in here and we have high liquidity in here. So within this pattern, right? So we're looking for now that scenario to unfold in the order flow. In Bookmap, we know these guys got filled. Actually, not enough sellers to even fill down here at 60, at least not yet. Okay, looks like they're going to go for it here. One more push. Yeah, there's still some sellers in here. Okay, still haven't tangled with 60. 400 contracts there, 300 contracts now. They just pulled some and added it lower here. All right, so that's bullish, but not as bullish. Okay, this would be a lot more bullish if these guys pulled in here and added it higher. Okay, so we can still look for sellers to try to hit into 60 and 58 3/4. Okay, so here they go. There's 60. All right, now let's see, and they got filled, right? They're getting filled. They got filled in here. They filled these guys in here at this 60 1/4. Now 60 just got filled. Okay, now we're looking for that potential scenario. Also 58 3/4, right? And let's just zoom in here a little closer with our lines. Okay, we're pattern within a pattern. Okay, and we're looking for these big green dots to try to break it. And then trade back up into this liquidity up here, 64 to 65. Okay, and that's just one scenario, right? I mean, heck, you know, this might break and then continue on down to 50 here. All right, so we're going to look for both scenarios here. Okay, let's look at this move into 58 3/4. And then we're going to gauge it here. We're still making lower highs and lower lows. So we need to break this little swing, or these little swings up here first. Okay, the structure needs to break. Now, if you don't like waiting for that and you start to see some buying coming in, okay, you could you know, it could be your trading plan. You know, you have to back test it and look for exhaustion here, look for them to maybe chase up, and look for buyers to come in here, and you could trade it up to those areas and take some off and look for maybe the bigger move. However, just be very careful because the structure has not broken yet. All right, so that is a counter trend move, and it's like trying to catch a knife. However, I think it's possible with the by reading the order flow in here. See the bids starting to come in. Okay, so now they tested up here, but you're not out of the woods yet, right? You know, this could be that little false breakout, and then watch the sellers come in and just pound this. Okay, so but you could trade it up to there, take some off. Now that would be a quick scalp, and then just get stopped out at break even on that. You gave it a shot, right? In fact, you can even start to look at maybe this is a breakdown at that point. Okay, you have to be pretty flexible with your execution on your trading in there. Okay, so structurally it's still making lower highs and lower lows. This just broke above this little swing here, or these little swings, that's it, and not on high buy volume. Okay, sellers, let's see if you got it here. this 58 and 3/4, trade into it, through it, and down to 55 maybe. And we're looking at the figure down here, 41.50. Okay, that's 100 points from our 42.50 area. So here are the sellers. Okay, they're coming in. All right, now we got to watch this too. Okay, so enough selling pressure to do that. It's not much of a point movement though. Okay, so we look for the other scenario here. Now we're still going sell side. We're still looking for lower highs, lower lows, but we're looking for a potential scenario here where if we can get buyers back up above our 58 and 3/4. All right, so now due to these two scenarios, what's the order flow telling us to give us insight? Okay, not much right now. Okay, still sell side here, still sell side, looking for the, yeah, I mean it broke down here, and you would not be buy side in here yet. You wouldn't look for that, right? You'd have to see those big dots here. Let me get my pen tool out. And you're looking for big green dots. You'd be looking for big green dots up here. Let me just go with a dot. Right? Yeah, no, Captain Price, they're leaving it alone. Yeah, absolutely. No one's interested, right? Not yet. Not yet. So yeah, I mean, don't touch it, until you start to see that. Okay, now even here, did it make a higher high? No, not yet. Right? So now you can look for your sellers below here. So anyway, these different scenarios is what we go through in here, and then we look for the order flow to support the scenario. And the order flow reading is pretty simple. This is not complex stuff. You're just looking for someone to take control, and you're looking for the order book to support that control. Yeah, I mean, you can see we're still below this, our 58 and 3/4. All right, so anyway, I went through this, and this so far at least, this pattern here, well, we're looking for it to possibly break. We had our reasons. We had a lot of buyers starting to come in. We also had the high liquidity in here. Okay, but we never got the buyers to come in. Okay, and we also read this liquidity in here, right? That also gave us a clue for that continuation. Okay, down to 55, right? Because they pulled and added lower. They're getting filled, but they're pulling and adding lower. All right, now we're coming back up. Now we're above our 58 and 3/4. We just broke this swing. Okay, looking for a pullback to 58 and 3/4. See if we can get that. And so is someone else. 58 and 3/4 liquidity pulled here, added up to 58 and 3/4. And look at the buying up here. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Okay, they're on the offer here. Here comes our pullback to 58 and 3/4. Okay, and this is going to be a big question here at 58 and 3/4. What's that order flow look like? Do we see any conviction in here? Not really. Not really. So yeah, still looking. There's our pullback to it, right to it. Okay, a little bit below it. And let's see if we can get sellers push it through this area here. Right, we just didn't get enough buyers up here. So we're still looking for that continuation here. Yeah, sell ice here as well. Nice, Captain Price. Yep. Yeah, exactly, Captain Price. Just leave it alone until you see some sort of like commitment or conviction here. There's no reason to change until you see that conviction. Now we're watching it closely in here, looking for that potential commitment into a long here. Okay, but that's it. You know, we have to kind of really stalk it to look for it. All right, so anyway, that's the triangle pattern here, or this descending wedge pattern in here. I guess it's not triangle. And actually it's a pullback to 60 or 58 3/4, and then continuation here is kind of what we're looking for here. Right, so it broke these little swings, but the bigger swings it did not break. And that's exactly how you get these patterns. Okay, so looking for the continuation here, back down to 55, and let's see them try if they can push it through 55. We could look for a double bottom also down here, but I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of buying up here. So looking to see if we can get our sellers to push through 55 and then hit the figure down here at 50. Levy, there are some candles in here. So let me show you that. Falling wedge, Bert, yeah. All right, guys. Well, let's yeah, we'll put in the hold on a minute. We do have candles in here, and I did want to go through this, right? The candles in Bookmap and start to understand, because you know you guys are looking at them. All right, well, let's understand the order flow within them. Okay, now look, this is getting really interesting. Okay, so we made a higher low here so far. Did we make a higher high? Looking for these buyers to charge right up after this 50 or 61 here. Okay, looking for it. Is the bid helping a little bit? They're on the bid a bit. Okay, but we're finding buyers now. Okay, we made a higher low. Let's try to make a higher high, looking for the move up into 61. And if it can trade into 61, let's even take a look at the break here. All right, so this is how much it broke. What, just a point really? Okay, so we'd be looking for maybe a point break here as well, something like that. Up to, yeah, 62 looks pretty good. Okay, so yeah, not too much not too much we didn't even get the move into 61, and we're already getting our pullback here. So we made a lower high, but we made a higher low. Okay, so we retested back down here, starting to find some buyers, a few. Okay, what's that bid and offer look like? They're on the bid at 57, starting to pull. Okay, and then sellers do transact into it. All right, let's see if we can get buyers back up here. Here we are. All right, so this is looking pretty good now, or better, I think. Here, a few more buyers up here, a few more buyers up here, a stronger bid here. No, not yet, still not ready yet. Okay, sellers coming in and breaking our little trend line there. And let's see what unfolds here. Still looking, I mean, due to this structure in here and the lack of buying in here and sellers starting to mount in here, we're still looking for lower move here. 54. All right, so lows of the day. Okay, some buying, but yeah, unless we see a ton of buying in here, we're still looking for 53. There we go. And then I think we can get to the figure at 50. One thing about the figure that we've noticed many times over is the we don't quite get there, and then we will see the kind of exhaustion on the sell side, and has to come back up and test some of these higher areas to finally get down to that figure and or below it. So that's one of the reasons, like why take a look at your some of your trading strategies and execution to consider front running some of those areas. All right, so I'm going to just have to put the brakes on this here, and we're going to take a look at what I wanted to cover here, I think, in the bigger picture. So let's take a look. All right, so let's even look at our 15 or our 5-minute candlestick chart here, and we'll look at the 1 day here. Well, it's really clear on the 15-minute. We're just going lower here. Okay, what about the 5? Well, the 5, we can see these pullbacks and then continuation, right? Let's just zoom in. Well, we can see enough here, I think. Okay, so now we're above that little close here on the 5, right? All right, so then you would be looking for in your candle back to 41.60 here, right? If we can see more buyers, and we're seeing buyers coming in here on the candle. All right, let's look at Bookmap. Okay, 41.60 up here, just the high of the range. Yeah, pretty good buying. Okay, the liquidity is in front of it here. I imagine these guys are going to pull. Okay, and I would love to see it come up and retest those wicks that we saw right here. Okay, we've got enough buying pressure in here. See the buyers coming in here? Okay, so we have the buyers up here. Now this is what we got to watch, though, is the pivot. Okay, the other scenario is we break down from that on heavy selling. Right now, I think the buyers got it. That's enough buying in here. Okay, a little more up here at the top, and then we should get it back up into 60, 61. All right. And here we are looking at this candlestick chart, looking for the test up here. Now, we could also potentially look at some of the structure in here on the 5-minute. God, we might have to go down to a 1-minute. Even that's not very helpful. Yeah, we'll go with a 5, which is fine. And we'd have to come all the way back up into here, like 64, or even here, like 66-ish area. I mean, this is a strong move out of here, right here, 69.70. Okay, so 64. First test is up here, 60. These wicks. Do we have enough buyers to get up to there? I think so. I think so, because look at the buying pressure in here. Look at the bid starting to support it. Here come our buyers looking for the move up into here. Okay, we have our higher time frame supporting it as well. Okay, so we're looking for it. See how you can start to look at these areas as higher probability. Okay, we have more things on our side here to look for. Okay, let's add another one in here. Let's look at the NASDAQ. How's the NASDAQ doing? Well, it's already kind of come up into these areas. Look at the strong buying on the NASDAQ here. Look at the pivot, beautiful pivot point here on the NASDAQ. The sellers down here. Whoops. The sellers down here. The buyers up above it. Okay, here they go on the NASDAQ. We should come up to here and maybe up into maybe the figure there, 13,000. All right, so looking for the S&P to follow suit and looking for a bit of order flow to support it here. Let's see the bid, buyers, and a breakout. Okay, followed by that, after that huge stop run here, I guess we can even draw up our, the pivot we see is here. Okay, but you could also draw it here. You see the sellers here below and the buyers up above. No, looking just for the move higher for right now, just very short term. Oh boy. Yeah. So, you know, right here, right now. And that's it. We're not looking for much here, right? I mean, we know the trend is down, bigger picture, right? We're just looking, remember, we talked about these wicks here. So the retest up to these wicks, we saw some of the well, we saw the candles in here. We looked at Bookmap, the order flow supporting it. Okay, so we're looking for our 60 level. We've already tested it. Now, question, can they break it? Can they break 60? We would look for some profit taking up here. There might not be much. There might be even more buyers up at 60, and then the next level would be up here at 64. Okay, so we're already at 60. Let's take a look. There's our buyers. There's a flip of the order book, okay, from offer to bid, and they're starting to pull up here. This opens the door for buyers to hit our 64 or 65 level here. Okay. So again, we don't know what's going to unfold, but we're going through the scenarios, and then we're looking for the order flow to support it. Okay, that's when we have a higher probability for the trade to work out. Now, NASDAQ here, this is another one to add in here. Look at the NASDAQ move to 13,000. Okay, pretty simple read here. Okay, this is very different than what we were reading on Friday, which was hard reads. This was much easier, I think. I mean, it's not really simple. Let's put it that way. Like there's other days where just like, okay, you know, it's clear. It's clear which way it's going. Now, NASDAQ's going higher. S&P, we're looking for our 64 level here, or 65. All right. So any questions on reading this with your candles? Okay, now we can also look at the candles with, you know, the patterns within Bookmap, the candlesticks. So for example, we go here, we can look at 5 minute, or we can look at 1 minute. You know, I know a lot of you guys look at your 1 minute candles. All right, well, yeah, here, no problem. Look at the order flow within these 1 minute periods. Okay, this is not good. This is not what we're looking for on that 1 minute period. In fact, we look for the sellers to try to hit down to here, back to retest 60 here, right? Some selling pressure, more selling pressure, red dots in here. But look at the bid. See, now this is great. I mean, this is where I think the understanding your candlestick patterns and your liquidity in here. Okay, maybe by zooming in, maybe this is the best way. Okay, so we can see that relationship here of the liquidity and the transactions within the candles. Okay, so we're looking for that pullback into this 60 level. We went down a little bit lower here. Okay, now let's look at this candle, developing candle right now. Now we know there's some selling up here, right? Okay, due to the wicks. Well, where is it precisely? Well, it's here. Okay, this is where they broke it and went down lower. All right, and now we got to quickly kind of pivot here and jump into our higher time frame. All right, so we got up here almost to our 64 level, 64, 65. Okay, and we still may, right? It might bounce off of down here around our kind of, well, we thought 60, but it's coming down a little bit lower here, maybe 58 and a half. Okay, we need to see though, and let's jump back. Okay, so are they supporting it? Here's where it kind of broke out from, and that's where it's retesting now. All right, so let's look for this developing candle in here, and they're pushing through. Okay, more selling pressure. Okay, so now bottom of the range then. Okay, look for some of these ranges in here on your candlestick pattern. 57 and a quarter, 56 and a half. Okay, still more selling pressure. Okay, here come some buyers, and they're pulling now at 60. Okay, so we're going to have to look at this possible scenario and retest back up into 63 now, or 64 or 65. Okay, they're pulling here. They also pulled down here though. Okay, but we're finding our buyers now. Yeah, I know it gets confusing in here. We were looking previously at the move down here, but buyers came in, right? Sellers, look at the retests in here. Look at we got many retests in here, no selling. Okay, instead we got a little bit of buying in here. Okay, so now our candle closed above this candle here. Looking for, let's see the original move that we wanted to see. Okay, was retest into some of these areas here, a bounce back up and retest up here to 64 and 65. Can they do it? Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is the area we'd want to see it. Yeah, so let's see it, buyers. Let's see what you got, and let's see if you can do it. No, look at that. High liquidity comes in and immediately sells off. So we got some good insight here. That high liquidity comes in, and buyers are not interested. Okay, now we're right back again. Let's see, does that player come in again? I don't see him. All right, let's see it. Now it's dark in here still. There's a little bit of a flip, not much. Okay, looking for that bid in here to give us some sort of insight, and nothing. Okay, still finding, I mean, basically this wick in here, we found some buyers up here actually. It's not sellers, but price was not supported. And this is where volume profile is nice, because did it auction up here? Yeah, it did. And were there buyers up here? Yeah, there were. That's what made up that wick, right? All of this in here. So looking for it, we should get our breakout now. Let's look for it here. We want to see a little more on the offer, on the bid here, but it's still auctioning up here. Okay, and we're still finding wicks here on this minute chart. I want to see the buyers above the wick. Here we go. Okay, buyers, this looks better on the offer. Let's look at a flip maybe, and on the bid. There's still buyers up here. Great. Looking for them to break it now, 64 and 65. The one thing that we don't have in all the pieces here is the bid. Okay, the demand here on the bid. It's pretty weak. Okay, so that's not really high probability. All right, but we do have the buyers auctioning up here. That's good. All right, well, what about NASDAQ? Well, NASDAQ's selling off. Okay. So we should look for maybe S&P. We didn't find the bid here. Okay, so retest back down to 59, I guess, or 60 here. We're getting very close to it already. Yeah, watching stops and icebergs is another confluence in here. Oh boy, no question about it. This is really, really nice in here. In fact, quite a bit of iceberg buying. Also quite a few stops in here. All right, well, buyers couldn't do it. They tried again, couldn't do it. Looking for our sellers. Let's see them hit not only down to this 60 or 59 level here. I want to see them trade back down into some of these other ranges. 57 and a quarter. I don't really see much there. It's more down below this range here. So around 56 and 55, 52, 53. All right, so they tried. We're looking for them to hit this 64, 65. Doesn't look like it's possible. Okay, so and sellers hit into this liquidity and traded through it. There's still supply here. So let's see it. Let's see it on that sell side. And let's see that 56 and 55. Okay, you can even see the kind of almost head and shoulders even in the candlestick, but not really, but on this 1 minute. But you can see kind of this. It's basically like a triple top, but there's a shoulder here and there's another shoulder here. Okay, we're down to our 57 level. That was the first one, even though there wasn't liquidity down here. Okay, the nicer move is into this kind of 56 level here. And again, guys, this in here, what we're looking at and what we're covering in here, you can zoom out. You can look at a candlestick chart on an hourly. Okay, and do the same thing here. Okay, on the hourly, looking for continuation to the downside. There's some little green, tiny green candles in here, and this is just back and forth in the order flow. But again, the concept here is to apply that to the higher time frame, what we saw in the smaller time frame. In fact, on a higher time frame, we see this all the time. It's kind of like a look what happened to our triangle, our descending wedge. We broke down again, and then finally it broke. But we see this kind of like double top here. Like leg one, it did break the structure. Leg two could not break the structure. Right, and then we look for that continuation to the downside. Right, so this is a good one. I mean, we've seen this for years, and crude oil is especially good at doing this. We'll jump over to crude oil and see if it did. But you'll get this kind of potential reversal pattern, even a head and shoulders down here or something, and then you get the breakout, leg one, pull back, then a move back up, leg two, and it can't break the high. And then you look for the continuation back down into the previous area, and then potentially lower lows. Okay, sellers, let's see it. You should be able to hit it. There's our 55 level. Looking for 52 and 53 as well. Okay, just looking for 52 and 53. 50 would be the target. Also 40. I mean, these are the levels of liquidity. Now, higher time frame, that's what we'd be looking for. Lower time frame in that 1 minute chart, we can go through the same exercise again. Did you guys find that helpful? Looking at the, maybe what's within a 1 minute candle. Yeah, okay. Yeah, guys, give me a thumbs up if you like that, or if you want me to do more of that. That would be helpful. Thanks, Gus. Yeah, no, hit that. I mean, boy, it's soliciting likes, but that will be easy to read there. If I see those likes, yeah, okay, there we go. There's some nice likes in there. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll continue to do it here. I did want to cover though this higher time frame, because look at this. I mean, just look at the even the 5 minute here. I mean, that's pretty bearish. Right, so we saw the move back up into this wicks here, and that was our first move, 60, and then we were looking for, I really thought we'd hit 64, 63, 64, 65. No, just it kind of in the middle of nowhere, just kind of turned around. We saw them trying and trying and trying, they couldn't. Now we're looking for the continuation to the downside, and here's what it looks like in Bookmap, right? So here's this kind of move up, and then the failure, and then the move back down. Okay, so this is what it looks like in Bookmap. Okay, here's the move down, right? And we were looking at these, going through the different scenarios in here. The continuation, there was no reason, even on here, I thought we'd have it in here as well. Nope, couldn't do it. Looking for the continuation, and then we started to note the buying coming back in. Now this is really good. There's our move, guys, and it's even a flip of the order book here. A bit, not a whole lot. Looked better a minute ago or a second ago. Still looking for 50. Here, let me just cover this here. This is really kind of important. See the high volume node in here, the buying above it, and then that can give us some insight back up into this 60 level. And this is where I was talking about. We had the stop run, and we had, well, we drew it up. Okay, the stop run, this zone, the flip, or the, you can see it. Okay, so heavy selling, stop run, then the heavy buying here, and then the move up. Okay, here's our retest, and again, heavy buying, looking for the breakout. All right, and then we coupled that with our higher time frame. I guess I shouldn't have, I spoke a little too soon. If we look at Bookmap in here, this is not bad at all. In fact, 63 would be better, but 60, this swing here at 62, I didn't see it, and also this little cluster in here, just kind of touch right to the top of it, and then again here on our kind of double top pattern, and then the continuation. Okay. All right, so anyway, the more objective we can look at the order flow and go through the scenarios and look for an outcome in that scenario, the better or more likely that it will unfold. Okay, it's really understanding the order flow. It's all made up of orders, guys. All of these moves, That's the beauty of it. So if you're a volume profile trader, great. I mean, you know, that's one way of looking at your profile or your volume horizontally added up. Pattern trader, it just doesn't matter. You're looking for the relationship of these structural areas. In case of your high volume node and structure here, great. Looking for the buyers above it and the move up. Okay, here's the move to it and then through it. Okay. And again, like what we read in here, and we were pulling for those buyers to just go a little bit higher in here, and this is where we've seen it so many times, they just couldn't. Buying slightly higher high, they, you know, buying, and they can't make it here. Now they're really stuck. Nice buying, doesn't go anywhere. It's not an iceberg either. It would be beautiful. That was an iceberg. Look at your profile too, right? On this little area in here, there's your P-shaped. Okay, well that failed nicely. Okay, so look for these, even in your volume profile. Look for your pattern here to fail and why it might fail. You have all your higher time frame. You have a low volume node here. Okay, yeah, and that actually adds pretty nicely into this area here, which is kind of what we were looking for on our candlestick. 63 would have been better, but we got to about 62.5, and then it really rejected. Okay, so did we get to the fifth figure? Almost there. Now be careful down here. This is what we were talking about earlier. We see when we approach the figure many times here that there's just not enough sellers to hit it, and there's people front running it here, like up here. You know, they're getting filled in here between the 53 and 54 area. All right, so we got to go higher before we can go lower, type of thing. So we will see, like here we go. Let's see if we get it now. Look for a move back up into here, 54. Looks pretty good. Look at the bid. Look at the buyers. 54, maybe 55. Okay, and if they can do that, then we see it even mount more back up into here. This where we just kind of we're looking at here. Our 57 level. Okay, in that swing. Okay, you want to look at the stops on the heat map? Sure. Stops and icebergs. I'll wait for the for it to load here. Okay, beautiful. And automatic. I like using this very much, the automatic individual threshold based on standard deviations. Okay, you have to kind of deselect and reselect for it to kind of load. Guys, here's the squeeze. Here's the move we were just talking about. Okay, you know, we're not making this stuff up. You see it enough times, but let's who cares about seeing it enough times? Let's objectively go through it. All right, so high liquidity, that's in front of the figure. Now, what if it was high liquidity that was below the figure? Well, then likely the move would continue down to the figure and then maybe through it here. But they're absorbing or getting filled in these areas in here. In here as well at 52. Also down at 51, and they couldn't push through 51. Okay, and that's when you'll get these squeezes. Everyone thinks, oh, it's going to the figure. And then you'll get these like short squeezes here. And I don't even, I call it a short squeeze. I think that's erroneous, to be honest. In fact, it's a lot of iceberg buying on the bid. And I think it's new buyers coming in. If it was a short squeeze, we'd see it in here. So let's not, I won't call it a short squeeze. I bet you anything it will be back up above 57.25 though. Okay, look for the squeeze, look for the shorts here now. And let's see, even 60, back up to our 60. Okay, so pretty strong candle here on the 5-minute. Can we get back up into here? Okay, remember these wicks again, 60. Okay, and then here's that high from that kind of 62.5 here. Okay, no, just 57, 57.5. Okay, and still, sellers are still in it. They're still in it, right? Else we would have seen the stop run. This is another way, like just understanding or gaining insight from some of these things in here. Some of these indicators and these add-ons in Bookmap are really helpful. This is a pretty incredible transparency here. No, there are icebergs, quite a few. That 500 followed by 260, and they're still in here. Okay, there's icebergs on the other side too. Not much, I don't believe. Right, so they're still here pushing it, pressing it. And let's see it back up into our, can we get up to 60? God, what a mess. All right, let me clear some of this here. Okay, but this is the structural area here. Okay. There's also this here. That's kind of what it's testing now. Okay. And this is where it really started to break in these little areas. And that's what we want to look for, retest back into those areas. Okay, now volume profile, guys. Okay, still mark up your verticals in here and match them with your profile. Okay, so your high, low volume nodes, etc. And what happened around those high and low volume nodes, that's really the key, because this is not going to tell you. It's just not. It's just simply adding them up on the horizontal and then plotting it. That's it. Okay, still waiting for that stop run here. Yeah. Look, oh boy, yeah, absolutely. There's no question of this is a downtrend. We're just looking. We're reading, and we're getting into the minutia in here in the order flow on many small time frames. Again, to understand some of these things, we started this webinar off talking about the much higher time frame and what we saw in the order flow. This same concept can be applied to what we're seeing here on the very small time frame. Okay, instead of being filled on the offer, they're getting filled on the bid. Okay, so is it going to follow through or not? Right, so in fact, this one, it traded up here for the entire week basically, except for Friday. Then it broke below. Okay, so now this one is traded down here this entire time here since 1025 when it broke. 1020, 1025 when it broke. All right, so now is this different than this over here on the daily compared to the 5-minute? Likely this is going to be different. I'm not looking for buyers to get back up above the 62 now. All right, so I'm still looking for selling pressure to hit down lower. I'm not looking for here. I was waiting and watching for the reversal and the move down below the 42.50 here. We're looking for the just these pullbacks and then continuation basically. All right, does that make sense? Okay, Yuri, you want me to explain a little bit about the columns? Sure. All right, so the columns, there are many different columns in Bookmap. Yeah, it depends on really what you want to look at here. The COB column is the current order book or your dome. Guys, I had an event over the weekend with Gary Norden, a Bookmap partner. He is a dome trader. If you guys are interested in that, we'll try to do an event with him and have him over here. He is an expert at the dome. And that's where this Dome Pro product they are very intrigued with. And we can go over more of this in here as well. Okay, I'll just add it here for now and just take a quick look at it. Okay, it's the same. I mean, you're just looking at liquidity in the dome. This is, got quite a bit more in it right now, as you can see. The liquidity in some of these areas here on the bid, liquidity here on the offer, and these little red areas are showing you basically the way that the FinTech visual guys, they're trying to kind of match up the heat map and liquidity here with so 5850, 5850, they kind of mark them up here. So you can kind of see the heat map reading in here as well. And it's done by a percentage in the order book kind of thing. So you can kind of read the heat map in here a bit, okay, with that feature. But anyway, yeah, they're looking for Gary and his group are looking for some very specific imbalances. I don't know what they are, but he's those are his proprietary methods. We'll try to have him over, and maybe he can discuss more about how he reads and uses the dome. Okay. Anyway, I just wanted to mention it and show that to you guys, for you dome traders out there who are accustomed to it. The COB column is basically the same thing. It's just showing you liquidity, okay, on the offer, on the bid, and then it's showing here in the heat map as well. All right, the CVP and SVP columns are volume profile columns. Chart range volume profile is what it stands for here, and session range volume profile is SVP. What it is showing is from the entire session since when I opened up my Bookmap. Just add all the volume at these price levels and a profile here. Okay, and also in CVP, but is for my viewable range. So if I zoom in, my viewable range is now smaller, and so is my profile. Okay, it reflects the viewable range. So therefore, you can look at ranges and look at, wow, okay, so this one's actually kind of skewed here to the downside. So why wouldn't it trade back down into 54 and see if it rejects or accepts? And if it accepts here, maybe you can go to 53, 52, 51, and finally 50. Right? So you'd be playing off of two different profiles in here. Okay, and here come the sellers. And we never got the stop run to the upside. This is really funny. In fact, it's a stop run to the downside. Jeff, you will have to subscribe to Bookmap Global Plus, and then you'll have to download that Dome Pro. I can show you that here if you go to Help in Bookmap, and then we go to the User Guide section here. Okay, that'll bring up this page here, which is the Bookmap User Guide. You're in that section right now. Go to the Add-ons section here. And then you see all the Bookmap add-ons here, and the download links are within them. So you see the Dome Pro and the Execution Pro here. Click on Dome Pro. Goes through it. There's a video. We have a longer video that we did a few weeks ago, just on Dome and Execution Pro. It's about an hour long. It's pretty exhaustive. Anyway, you'll scroll down and you'll find the download links in here as well, right here, how to install Dome Pro add-on. Okay, so if you have the Global Plus, then your license will allow it. Okay, Execution Pro, same idea. Click on that, and then it's down at the bottom here, how to install, and you'll find here, we can just look at it here, how to install, and then here's the download link here. Okay, so if you want to try it, then try upgrading. Just log into bookmap.com if you have global or digital digital plus, and then you'll hit the add-ons or upgrade button, and then that'll allow you to try out global plus for a month or whatever you want to do. All right, guys, this is really interesting stuff. So we know there's a little bit of a stop run to the downside. We're looking for the upside here, and we're just not seeing it yet, even though we have all these icebergs in here. So this is a kind of a funny context. I'm looking for, I thought we'd get the stop run up above 57. Nope. It might be up here, 63. So I like it. I like this scenario here that we can get this stop run before hitting the figure. Looking for our buyers right now, and then let's see if we get our stop run. So we're looking for a quick move up into about here or here, 62.5, or these little areas that we marked up previously. All right, so I like 60, even though I don't see much there. It's actually here at 59. I mean, just think of all the sellers in here that are shaking in their boots with this move higher, right? So we get that. Watch the pop here and watch them exit very quickly. Okay, so that's a likely scenario in here. A little more buying up here, just eating away at it. Let's watch this bid here. They're still kind of eating away at it in here. We can look for this. This is where you can also look for not only a move back up into these areas, guys, at this time of day. You can look for your mean reversion trades in here as well. It's going to be these cascading stops that are going to kick it off. Okay, so let's look at it here. Now I'm going to add in this column by right-clicking in the SVP column. I'm going to add the point of control. Okay, and we're actually at it, or already through it here. So that's not helping. We can look for a previous point of control though, and that would be up here, right? Well, you don't have to. It's not rocket science. You just look right at it. You can see the high volume profile up here. Okay, at 70. Yeah, they'll run for cover. That's right. I'm still not seeing it, but watch it. Here we go. I love watching some of these squeezes, and they just play out so nicely sometimes. This one's, I'm waiting for it to kind of kick off here. Right, and then think about it in here. I want to mention, like, yeah, think about the scenarios. This is where, like, you know, you've got to do the run through the different scenarios, understanding, and it's understanding the orders in here. It's understanding the participants in the order flow in here. So the think about it part, it's not so scientific, right? But you're going through scenarios of what ifs. And then you're looking for something in here to support the what if, and then look for the higher probability outcome. All right, so let's look at NASDAQ as well. NASDAQ's up here. This is stronger to the upside. It looks even cleaner and clearer in the NASDAQ here. Okay, so let's see the move back up here to 970. And then we'd be looking for the move up into 985, basically. Okay, well, this isn't ready yet. Okay, so I don't think that S&P is going to be ready yet either. All right, that's another confluence. Again, looking at the order flow and then looking at the confluence, different markets, and then looking for putting those pieces together. Do you need the MBO unbundled to see the stops and icebergs? Yes, you do, Johnny. Yeah, Here, I can show you again. Go to help, go to Bookmap Marketplace, or from our website. You can also just go there. You will need rhythmic data, and it's only for CME group futures. Will not work on stocks. Okay, so that's what you'll need. Then the MBO bundle is here, right? So it's 134 a month, and very specific. That's why it's on the marketplace, because there's not, not everyone's a futures trader, and if they are, maybe not everyone's a CME group futures trader. Maybe they're trading the Eurex, ICE, etc. It's not going to work. Okay, it has to be CME, and it has to be rhythmic. Okay, maybe you don't like rhythmic, maybe you like CQG data. All right, guys, this is looking better. Let's see if we can get our squeeze here. And let's also jump over NASDAQ. NASDAQ, it broke out a bit, but it's back in here. So here we go. Let's see if we get it here. All right, so looking pretty good on this NASDAQ here. I think they got it into 85 here, maybe as far as 13,000. But let's jump over to the S&P, and this is where I just don't really enjoy trading the S&P. Yeah, looking for it. It's just a little harder read here. 62, 63, 64, and 5. And some back and forth and kind of game playing in here, in the liquidity. There we go. That see that right there helps, and we also know the NASDAQ is likely doing it, and it is, but it's not so strong here on the NASDAQ either. But 62, looking for a 62. Okay, we abandoned our candlesticks, and understanding the structure within candles. Let's go back and take a look here. Now we can just look at the bigger picture here first. Well, this would be just a retracement in the bigger picture, right? Pretty big down days here, or big down candles on the hourly. Back into 65 here looks pretty good. That's where the swing is down here, and then the break of that swing here. And then above this swing here at 62. So yeah, 65 looks pretty good. It's only 4 S&P points, but we don't see a whole lot of point movement in here. How's that NASDAQ doing? It's still doing it. The buying looks great. They're just not able to move it yet, and we still don't see a stop run here. Watch for it though. It should be really nice. This is that beautiful kind of double top after that move lower, and we look for that reversal pattern where you get leg 1, retest leg 2, and it fails. Okay, so we saw that in the S&P, and we're reading it in real time. Now this one here, the NASDAQ should be able to do it a lot easier, and it's struggling. Okay, so that S&P is going to be struggling too. Guys, I think I'm gonna keep this same title for tomorrow, understanding market structure and candlesticks, and we'll go over maybe part 2, and we'll look at more details in here about like who's in control and that candle that is in control. We can just maybe kind of briefly go over it here right now. If we maybe look at maybe 5-minute candles. Let's see. Yeah, let's try our 1 minute. Let's go back to our 1-minute candles. And again, it's just reading the order flow within the candles. Buyers you know, up above this structural area here. All these candles here and then the buyers above it looks pretty good. Can they get up into here? Yep. Can they get higher? Took a while here. One more retest back down here, back to where they broke out from, the retest here. So you guys looking for your retests, these are good. And you could look for just a bounce back up in here to take some off, and then maybe try to hold for a continuation. But then in here, this looks really good. Look at the buying in here and charging through that liquidity, even charging through this liquidity here. Okay, but is there still the buying pressure up here is what we want to read. Yeah, there's this nice clusters of buying up here. Sellers are starting to come in though. Yep, European Abdi, European close coming. Okay, see again, look at the order flow structure in here. And now the candle's not really helping us too much. This 1 minute candle at least. We see the move up. Here's our pullback. Here's the move up. Here's our pullback. But it's pretty clear in Bookmap. I mean, you see this move and this cluster up here. We don't really see it in the candles here. We do, so we are making higher highs and higher lows. The sellers are just coming in and testing that now. Now they are breaking it, right? But let's see this. If this is just a false breakdown here, and what we look for in a false breakdown is buyers back up above here, above 59. Okay, can they do that? Let's see. And then looking for a hand over fist here. Another stop run here. Nice. Okay, 83 here on the stop. There they go. Okay, so now we're looking for a move back up into 62. I think that they've got it here. We had our stop run, and then we see the buying coming back in. This player here at 59.5, just spoiling that party right now. And he's pulling. Okay, buyers, they got it. 61. Let's see it. Let's see if you should looking for them to try to press it up into 61. And nope. So bouncing off of point of control. Do we see more sellers? Actually, yeah, we are. Okay, so our hopes for that move higher here, it's not looking good. They had it in here, look like it. European close in just a couple minutes. Candles are kind of distracting, Phil. I know. What's the advantage of having them on the chart is to go through. That's kind of the title here of understanding what's happening within them. I feel the same way. I think they are distracting, but just to get the point across of like, you know, how to start to understand the context here, because we're all so used to looking at candles. Okay, and others liked it, so we thought we'd continue with it. Okay, it's kind of like having your training wheels on, almost. Okay, see how this opens the door right in here beautifully. If we can get buyers back up above it here, right up here, right where we are here. If we do, then our candles, we'd be looking for the move up to about here. Okay, and then maybe back up to here or that low volume node, and above all these wicks up here, up into 62 and 63. Okay, so let's see here. We have a little bit on the bid. Do we get them? No. Okay, what about NASDAQ? Let's jump over. See, NASDAQ's not following suit. Not yet, at least. Okay, there they go. See how the NASDAQ now, we see the buyers back up above it? All right, so let's see if they can break that. They should. Then they should be able to get up to 67 and 70. All right, so let's jump back to the S&P. Okay, we're up here. Not a whole lot of buying up here, though, at all. Okay, so we're reading it. We're just not getting what we want and to look for that move higher at the moment. Okay, so nothing to do. Yeah, the NASDAQ is able to move the price very, very easily most of the time. That's what we like, though, is like I love the demo in the NASDAQ. Boy, NASDAQ, they let them out too. Like we got at least back up here, and this is looking really good for the squeeze. It just can't seem to squeeze out the sellers in here. They just remain in here. Here they got squeezed out up here, it looks like, on NASDAQ. All right, guys. Anyway, we'll continue on tomorrow. We'll maybe I'll start off again, like looking at higher time frames and then who's in control. If we look at our higher time frame here, yeah, it's pretty clear that the buyers can't get back up here. We were just looking for back up into some of these areas in here, but the overall move here is still to the downside. That's been clear since the start of the webinar. Okay, we're just looking to see if we can get a squeeze back up into some of these areas. Now the sellers are coming back in. Okay, so this is where we're looking for the sellers to take it into some of these wicks down here. 54, somewhere around here, is a good area. Even here, 53. Now, if they can really pick it up in here, not only that, we're looking for not only 51 and lows of the day here, we're looking for our potential gap fill, 20 points away. But the figure here at 50. All right, so bigger picture outlook is something like that. Let's take our candles off here and let's look at the bigger picture.
Hey, Bruce.
And yeah, I need to get going, guys. It's 11:30. So just one note, Tom B, he will be presenting right after this webinar. But then he's going to be away for a few days. He will be back on August 30th. All right, so I'll mention it tomorrow as well. There will be no Tom B webinar, but he will be there today. All right, so just stay tuned here, and that will should do the trick. You should be redirected right to it. Okay, thanks for coming, everybody, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Take care.